All right, y'all, let's get it, man. My brother, 13 Signs Astrology, Ra Hotep. He about to break it down about karma. Let's see what he talking about.
What's up? What's up? What's happening? People been shooting me a lot of questions on Twitter, and I'm trying to be, interactive and trying to get to your questions and answer your questions. And one particular question was asked of me by a sister by the name of Karen. Shout out to Karen. And she asked me about karma. And she seemed very sincere, so I wanted to, make a video about this. I answered her question on Twitter actually, but I wanted to actually make a video on it because I believe the answer I gave her may not have been, enough because on Twitter you only get like 140 words, to answer a question or to, make a statement or whatever you're doing. So not 140 words, actually 140 characters. So you have to be able to express yourself in 140 characters or less or whatnot. So to me, that wasn't really enough. You guys know I have a lot of things going on up here in my head, and I like to express things. So I just went on ahead and decided to make a video on this. But she asked me the question about karma. She asked me, does karma really exist? And I want to go ahead and answer her question here live on Twitter. She said that a lot of spiritual teachers out there are teaching that there is no karma. There is no purpose in life. There is no, we're just here. There is no purpose. And that's not necessarily false, but it's all based on perspective. So I'm going to give you
Right.
like my views, my perspective on it.
Right. That's not necessarily false because even scriptures in Ecclesiastes, it says all is vanity. Man is like the grass which withers away. All of this stuff, all your material, all this bullcrap. The matrix is all vanity. It's all meaningless. That's in the scriptures for you Christian heads.
First thing you want to understand is that karma is not has nothing to do with punishment. It has nothing to do. It's not like judgment. Like a lot of people, when they come out of religion, they kind of equate karma to judgment or to like persecution or something like that, and they look at karma like a punishment. When most people hear about karma, they associate it with something negative. Um, and actually, it's even a rapper out there, shout out to Future. He said something like, I'm gonna live my life. I ain't worried about karma. And I understand that, and I'm gonna go ahead and break that down exactly what that really truly means. Um, for one thing, it's not anything negative. Karma is not anything negative. It's not really even anything positive, but it can be very positive and it can be very negative depending on your perspective, depending on your experience, depending on what you got from whatever you consider karma. I mean, it's based on what you consider it to be. So let's define it first of all. If we look at the definition of the term karma, I think I've talked about this before. It means to make. It means what you make. Astrologically speaking, karma goes into Saturn
Uh
all the time. And Saturn is basically one of the most distant personal planets in astrology, meaning personal, meaning planets that are associated with you as a person. There are planets in astrology that are associated with groups, which are Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Those planets are associated with groups or asteroids, if you want to call them that too. Well, Pluto being an asteroid because they demoted it to an asteroid or whatever, but I still consider it a planet. But whatever the case may be, those are the outer planets. We're not talking about that right now. But Saturn is the outermost personal planet. I think it's like the seventh planet from the sun. It's very distant. It's very huge, actually. And it takes a long time for Saturn to go around full circle in your natal chart. It takes Saturn about 29 years to go around full circle in your natal chart. When Saturn goes around full circle in your natal chart, this is called the Saturn return. So this is kind of like a rebirth, or when you get reintroduced to yourself now as a full mature adult, or as a full mature being, hopefully. And usually a lot of people, they associate Saturn return with a negative time. They say Saturn return is a time when a lot of stuff, hard stuff can happen to you and all of this, that, and the third. But it's really Saturn return is just really like karma coming back around, or what you produced and what you've created all of these years prior to 29. Kind of like you now you got to deal with it. The Saturn return lasts from 29 up to about 45 years old, actually, depending on how you manage Saturn return. The effects of it can continue to last because now it's like you're an adult and you have to clean up all the mistakes you may have made in your 20s. You may have been in college, all the parties you went to, all the times you got wasted, and all the
Right.
classes that you may have skipped out on. So you may still find yourself stuck in college, or you may be out of college now and you can't find a job, or you're just kind of stuck, or you're not really happy with what you're doing. And people kind of get in a slump during this time, so that's why they consider it hard, or can consider it hard. But if you know about Saturn return early, hopefully you guys that are watching the video and it's, in your early 20s, or, teenagers even, you can kind of get prepared for this. And by getting prepared for this, you have to know what it is you want to do at an early age. And all this is associated with karma. So when you talk about, like, does karma exist? Basically, we are judged by our faults and not for them, like one of the masters always taught.
I say karma is jacked up too because, like, for example, I'm still like, you know how when you go and fill out that job application, whatever, and they say they don't discriminate and all that bull crap about race, color, creed, and blah blah blah, and they saying that even if you might have committed a crime in the past, it might not be held against you or whatever. You know how they say that stuff in the application, but that's all bull crap because they do hold it against you. They do hold it against you. So in my situation, that's like my karma for what I did, something that I did, years ago. I'm basically still paying for that even to this day. You know what I'm saying? How can't get a job. That's how. You know what I'm saying? They still holding something that I did years ago. But at the same time, America is a country where they try to tell you to forgive and forget and let go. But it's all, America is just built off of hypocrisy. And if you can understand that, then you will just, you will be at ease. Once you come to the terms to understand that this is a corrupt nation and is built off of lies and hypocrisy, then you'll feel better. Okay? You'll feel better. Trust me, because don't believe nothing they say, because everything they say they do the opposite of. You know what I'm saying? They tell you to be honest and you know tell the truth and you go to church and all that stuff. But meanwhile, these people are killing people and you know sucking blood and all types of wicked stuff that they're doing behind the scene. You see what I'm saying? They tell you to love your enemies and and all that stuff, but they don't. These folk that control this construct, they don't love nobody. They you know what I'm saying? They out for blood, they out to kill, and it's just death and destruction. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's definitely a double standard, of course, you know what I'm saying? But like I said, well, I know who we're dealing with. I know that we're dealing with these reptilians, the black nobility, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying?
We are judged by our faults, but not for them. So your karma is essentially whatever you experience. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. This is called karma. So the way I broke it down to the sister, and I know she may not have understood this, but I was trying to be brief, but I gave her a parable and I said,
And some people use the word cause and effect. They say they don't believe in karma, they believe in cause and effect. To me, it's the same shit. You know what I'm saying? Tomato, tomato.
if I drive around the equator long enough, if I was able to do that, of course we have oceans and stuff, so so let's just say fly. If I flew around the whole equator and I had enough gas in my airplane or craft or whatever I'm using, and I flew around the equator long enough, I would end up where I started, right? And I told her that's karma because you end up where you started. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. What goes around comes around. So karma is just a balance of the scales. It was put here so that we can. It's a check, like putting somebody in check, like in the chessboard, you put the king in check, so that the king will move and restructure his position. You may not have a
Man, look, let me tell you something. If you out here doing dirt, dog, that shit's gonna come right back. It's just plain and simple. If you out here, you living the thug life. Let me tell you, if any young bulls listening to this video, let me see if I can drop a jewel on you. Cut the dumb shit out. I'm trying to tell you, you're going to regret it in the long run. You might be 15, 16 years old. Don't be listening to these rappers. These rappers is full of shit. They lying to you. They're going to get you caught up in some bull crap karma, okay? They're going to have you out here toting guns, out here getting in all types of trouble, you know what I'm saying? And then you're going to have to pay for that crap if you don't die. If the streets don't take you under, if the hood don't take you under, you gonna fuck around and catch one of them cases. The beast gonna give you football numbers, and they're gonna send you upstate. You know what I'm saying? And you're gonna have to deal with your karma for all the dirt that you done did when you was 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. Because this is why they get you in that mind control at that young age. They want you in that mind control so that way you can fuck up. They want you in the adolescent years, dog. They want you to destroy yourself at that youth. So that way your whole future can just be jacked up. And you'll be a slave, for the system. You know what I'm saying? For, out there slaving and like I said, the penitentiary ain't nothing but modern day slavery because they got on cats in there, doing construction work for 50 cents an hour. You know what I'm saying? Like it's straight slavery, dog. You know what I mean? So don't get caught up, young bulls. I seen a young boy the other day. He was gang stalking me. You know what I'm saying? I was outside at the park. You know what I mean? He came through. So I just dropped some jewels on him. I said, look, young boy, you know what I mean? Go to school, stay out of trouble, and stay your ass out the penitentiary. Because I have been getting in some trouble recently, man, getting in some stuff. I said, man, look, I know. I was young before, dog. I know how that shit goes. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get caught up in that peer pressure bullcrap, being with the wrong people. I'm trying to tell you, man, fall back. Like, the young bulls need to understand you do not have a point to prove. You do not have to prove anything. Don't be walking around with no chip on your shoulder. You ain't got to go for bad. So all that rah-rah, all that trying to act all tough, man, that shit is dead, dog. Thug life is dead. Leave that shit alone, player. I'm trying to tell you. Get yourself, find yourself. That's what you need to do. The beast only fear people like me and this brother right here. 13 Signs of Astrology. Intelligent people. You see what I'm saying? Gods. This is who the beast fear. You know what I'm saying? Y'all think y'all hard and stuff walking around because you got a gun. Man, that don't mean nothing, dog. Trust me, it don't mean nothing. Because you can't take that gun with you when you go upstate. You know what I mean? So, you act hard all you want. It's a whole different world up there. So, all I'm saying is, fuck all that thug life. Thug life was a setup, okay? That was just another eugenics program created by the beast to create segregation and to destroy black people. That's it. Or indigenous people, should I say. You know what I'm saying? So get out of that, all right? Thug life is mind control. Thug life is mind control. Thug life is mind control. You do not have to be out here trying to be hard. You do not have to be out here trying to bust caps. You do not have to be trying to run up in 7-Elevens and try to rob joints. You know what I'm saying? Just to be down. You know what I'm saying? Go back and watch the movie Juice that came out in the 90s. Look, just look how Bishop turned out in the movie. Look, you know what I'm saying? Look how everything turned out bad when Bishop and them agreed to run up in the store. You know what I'm saying? To try to, because they just wanted to be down. They just wanted, you know what I'm saying? They just wanted to see that's how it was back in the day. People just wanted to get down. They just wanted to have a rep. You know what I'm saying? They wanted a name to get out there. That there was this tough guy, this gangster. Everybody want to play this gangster because America glorified that thug life image. So people fall right into the trap. And that's exactly what it is. A mother-sucking trap. So don't fall for it.
Mate, you put the king in check. But sometimes the check can help out the person that's getting checked. because it can cause them to reset up their defense. So that's how karma is. It helps us to restructure our lives. It helps us to look at what's going on. It's like a knock over the head. Like, wake the fuck up. No, you ain't been doing right. Wake the hell up. What's going on? So that's what karma is. Now, should you sit around and worry about it? No. Should you sit around and, I mean, we have to live in this experience. It's not a punishment. I mean, you can do something great and experience karma from it. Just like they have the saying that says, more money, more problems. This is just like saying we are judged by our faults and not for them. So the more money, more problems means the money is going to create more problems. So the money essentially is your karma. And it may be good. A lot of people may say, well, I got $1 million, man. And that's what I always wanted. And that may be considered good karma to somebody. And then to the next person that may have had $1 million for a long period of time, they may be like, here, you can take this $1 I don't want to deal with it. What I've been experiencing since I had this $1 million, I don't like it. So that's how karma is. Now, there's
and some people say that, you know what I'm saying, Biggie Smalls, you know, came up with the song More Money, More Problem, and that was a hit joint back in the day. But at the end of the day, I say less money, you're gonna have more problems, you know what I'm saying? You know, only people I never had a problem when I had money, dog. I'm gonna keep it real with you. When I had money, I never had no problem. Everything was good. I really didn't have no problem until the gang stalkers came. You know what I'm saying? So I say instead of them saying more money, more problem, no, more gang stalkers, more problem. You know what I'm saying? We could just eradicate them suckers, them gang stalking suckers, and you know, my life would be great. You know what I'm saying? My life was like really, really getting on track. My train was about to take the fuck off, dog. You know what I'm saying? My train was on track, about to take off. And out of nowhere, man, the gang stalkers was all in the damn way. All on the damn railroad track, you know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? It's just a thriller, you know what I mean? But as far as I'm concerned, less money, more problems. More money you got, you know what I mean? It all depends on the individual though, because some people, if you got if you're an alcoholic, then a lot of money could be a problem to you because you might find yourself at the bar all the time drinking. You know what I'm saying? You might be smoking too much. You might be partying too much. If you don't have balance in life, then you're gonna have a problem. That's just period. That's with everything. Life is all about balance. You could be going to the gym too much. You could be studying too much. You could be reading too much. You know what I'm saying? You know, sometimes I tell myself too, all right, D, let's take a break. Let's go ahead and watch some South Park. You know what I'm saying? Let's go watch some comic view, put the book down. Let's you know what I'm saying? Let's you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just gotta do this. Go for a walk. Come on. You know what I mean? Enough with this gang stalking crap. Enough with conspiracy right now. Let's chill. You gotta tell yourself that. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, man, you explode.
advanced teaching when it comes to karma. And the advanced teaching is that this is what a lot of teachers I think are trying to express when they say there is no karma, you don't gotta really worry about it and all this, is that you are either going to experience this reality or you're going to make this reality. And you're always doing, a lot of times you may be doing both at the same time, believe it or not. But it's about the mentality. So you can make this reality or you can experience it. If you make this reality, I think that's what Future was getting at, the rapper Future, that says he ain't worried about karma because he, in his mind, he according to that song, he's saying he's making this reality. In his mind, whatever he was talking about, whether it's just making some money, he's in charge of his life. He's out here hustling, getting money, and he ain't on nobody's clock. So he's doing him, so he's making this reality. He's a producer. He's producing this reality. Whereas some people experience this reality and they are what's called spectators. Just like in Freemasonry, you have what's called operative Freemasonry and speculative Freemasonry. Operative Freemasonry is supposed to be like people that actually build, whether it's building with the tools in the workshop of the mind or whether it's building actual buildings, whatever your build structures. And then you have speculative Freemasonry. These are people that sit back and analyze and go into the theories of building. And they know a little bit about it, but they're watching the builder essentially. They're not actually in it. So that's the same thing when it comes to karma. So you have to really, at the end of the day, most people are experiencing reality. So that's why you worry about karma, and that's why karma comes on you, because You are in an experience situation. You're just experimenting with things. You don't have your mind made up about stuff. Most people don't. They say they do, but you don't have your mind made up. Because if you had your mind made up, then you would be producing or creating reality, and in that, there really is no karma. Because whatever happens to you, you're just creating. So you like, I created it, so how can it be karma? Because I just created this the situations that I created. So it's not good or bad, it just is, and I'm going to continue creating more situations. And you're in the driver's seat, and it's mental though, it's all mental. And you can say, well, yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to go out here and create my reality. I'm going to go out here and rob this bank. See what I'm saying? Ain't no karma. I can go out here and just do what I'm going to do and go rob this bank. And then you go get locked up, and then now it's karma all of a sudden. I did wrong, and now all of a sudden you're the victim. That wasn't right. They gave me 15 years robbing this bank. And I didn't know, the laws like that. And maybe if I had knew the laws like that, I wouldn't have got 15 years. Blah, 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 blah. You were the whole time experiencing reality. You just want the experience robbing the bank. You weren't making reality. And I'm not telling people to go out here and rob a bank. That's not what I'm saying to do. But I have to bring the balance to that because somebody could easily watch this video and be like, oh, ain't no karma. Ram Hotep said ain't no karma. So now I can just go out here and go rob a bank or go out here and do this or do that, and I ain't got to worry about nothing, and then you get caught up because remember, you're judged by your faults, not for them. So the very act in and of itself is going to be karma. You may not get caught. You may keep the money, and you got to deal with the fact that you got to hide out, you want to run, nobody really caught you. That's your karma. You're being judged by it. But at the end of the day, there's nobody looking back, judging you. I mean, we got to go and see Ma'at at the end of the day in the halls of Ma'at. When we change forms, or when I say change forms, when we die, we have to go see Ma'at. And, she's supposed to weigh not really your sins, but she's supposed to weigh your cares for the world against the feather. See, most people associate sins with cares for the world. Sin is just really how much you care about the world. Meaning that you care about the world so much you can't wait to go get that next piece of pussy. You know what I'm saying? You just can't wait. You can't wait to go get that next drink. Because those are the cares of the world. You can't wait to the point you don't have any control. And you can bring that stuff with you into the afterlife. And if that's heavier than a feather,
you come right back.
Heavier than basically the soul plane, then you'll have to go back into the cycles of reincarnation.
Yeah.
And they set it up like that for a reason.
Right.
Remember, you're going to get knocked over here. That's karma. Coming back to reincarnate.
Right.
That's karma. So basically, make a long story short, I'll talk about this a little bit more.
Because it is the cares of the world. Because when you read the Bible, right? I got a couple more minutes. When you read the Bible, like especially in Paul's teachings, 1st, 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Philippians, all those books, it tells you that we must deny the flesh. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. I'm gonna have to start digging deep in those books, man, because I ain't read those books in a long time. But we already know that the scripture says that he that sows to the flesh reaps corruption, but he that sows to the spirit reaps everlasting life. You see what I'm saying? So if you keep on sowing to the flesh, the lust thereof, the lust of the world, the desires of the flesh, then that's going to keep you bound. That's going to keep you densed. You know what I'm saying? How people say, oh, ground yourself. Yeah, you definitely going to be grounded because you're going to be grounded to this earth. You see what I'm saying? And your heart is still here. You know what I'm saying? You're still attached to your things. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, look what happened to Lot's wife, right? Then they say Lot, she turned to a pillow of salt because she couldn't, she turned back. It was the lust. She didn't want to leave her possessions and stuff. When I used to read like footnotes on that stuff, that's what they were saying. It was like her heart's desire was still caught up on her possessions. She didn't want to lose her stuff. So she got caught up out there. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same with like what he just said on your dying day when my yacht where your desire, basically your desires with the feather. You know what I'm saying? Are you still worldly? Are you still a worldly person, or did you give up the world? Most of y'all coming right back because you have not given up the world yet. You still love this motherfucking place. You know what I'm saying? You still love it. You know what I mean? And I ain't gonna, I'm gonna keep it real with you. It's still things down here too that I want to do too. I want to still travel and see the world, and have intimate relationships with beautiful women too. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, I don't love this world. You know what I'm saying? I still, when it's time to go, you know, I'm leaving these desires right down here. Okay? If you know what I'm saying? When it's time to go, I'm leaving these desires right down here because ain't nobody trying to be coming back. I'm not trying to be coming out here reincarnating, dealing with these fucking black nobility, archonic entities. I'm not, being gang stalked no more. They're not gonna be fucking with me. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, when it comes to that, if you got to look at it like that, you got to look at it like, okay, you want to continue to be caught up in these fleshly desires and be coming on down here getting fucked with by these entities. We want to let this crap go and move on. I'm letting it go, and I'm moving on, player, to better dimensions and better places, better solar systems, and whatever that's out there.
To make a double header, and this video leads to the next one. But when I talk about the archives, but make a long story short, if you're not really teaching your students how to walk the gates, and you teach them it ain't no karma, but you never taught them how to walk the gates, then you giving them kind of like a half teaching, a false teaching. You, in a way, they're gonna hold you accountable for that. They're gonna hold you accountable for that. It's okay if that's what you're doing, you feel like it's okay, but you go out here and tell people there ain't no karma, but then you never taught them how to walk the gates. You haven't really taught them how to create their own reality. You may be thinking, what is walking the gates? I brought this up before, but I'm not going to teach on it just yet. I may touch on it a little bit on the next video about the archives, but you advanced teachers that teach it ain't no karma, you're supposed to know. And you don't know what walking the gates is, but then you teaching that it ain't no karma. Because if you walk in the gates, this is how you begin to create and make reality. This is when you are a maker and not an experiencer.
All right, that's it. It's about to stop. The video about to stop. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Shout out to Rahotep. I hope he all right. He's a target individual. If anybody have any information of where this man is at, please let me know down in the comment section. This video right here is 10 years old. Holla back at 13 Signs Astrology, man. This was Ralph Smart before Ralph Smart. Holla back, y'all. We out this dream.